So the next one, this one was a bit of an adventure. I would almost call it a misadventure, but I've redirected. It's great. So this is Alice's Wonderland sampler quilt. And I love, love, love it. I knew when it released last year that I wanted it, but I wasn't able to buy it last year. And then there was a bit of a kerfluffle with a Christmas present, and it malfunctioned. And so I was able to kind of exchange that for this. And now I have it, and it's very exciting. And I'm trying to find it in my brain binder. I know it has a page. There we are. Okay, so Alice's Wonderland. This is the full thing. I love that border. It's a whole nother quilt in itself, but it's really pretty. And frankly, interesting. I just had the thought that if I'm smart, what I should do is see how many of each color there are, because it goes through a rainbow on it. And maybe every 10 blocks, 10 interesting blocks I should do like one colorway of these little blocks, and then it would be all ready to go at the same time. Anyways, that's just a little thought that I had right now. So here's the recommended color palette. They did their sample out of the Liberty of London fabrics. I'm just pulling from Stash. Here's my kind of goal page, if you will, and there are 100 blocks, so there is a spot to mark off for each of those. And yeah, let's see. So I did 3 sample blocks, and I had been inspired by somebody else working on it. They did low volumes and kind of bright, modern, scrappy fabrics. And it was so cute and so different than, these are all very fine prints. So you get, it's not busy. Busy's not the right word, but a very textured look is perhaps the way to put it with the Liberty fabrics, because they're small scale, right? And I kind of liked how this creator had done their blocks. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do like her. But I didn't have a picture in front of me. So when I pulled fabrics from my scraps, my first 3 blocks wound up being closer to the Liberty look than planned. And I got them done. Here, let me get my board and I'll show them to you a little bit better. So these are the first 3 blocks. They're so cute. But I wasn't thrilled with them. And I wasn't sure that they didn't fit what I had in my head. I think I got locked into what I was seeing in the book, in the samples. And so I kind of came to a full stop on it. I was like, all right, well, that was an interesting experiment. Now what? What can I tweak to make it more, like, why isn't it vibing in my brain? Why am I not loving it? Because they're cute. There's nothing wrong with them. And I adore this little hamster fabric. Ignore the fact that that piece is too short. It'll be fine. A lot of imperfections come out in assembly. Anyways, derailed. Okay, so what I did, I wound up trying to turn off my brain in this way, and I re-pulled fabric. I pulled out my buckets. You can kind of see. So that is my color stash, that stack of big buckets back there. It's very beautiful and very tidy. No, it's a chaos monster. But it's an organized chaos monster, and fabric can be ironed. That's what irons are for. So I pulled out all my buckets, and I literally laid them out in like a half circle in front of me. I was like, okay, we're going to think not Liberty textures. We're gonna go for more modern. I don't know if modern's the right word, because anyways, different textures. So I went through, pulled new fabrics, and I've cut out the first few blocks again. And I'm thinking I'm hitting the mark, more what I had in my head. So here's the first 2 blocks. See how different that is from, let's see if I can do this. What am I doing? See how different that is? And here's this, that's this one. They're both cute. There's nothing wrong with either one, but there's just a little less movement in these ones, which is why I think my brain thought modern. And that's more what I was kind of envisioning. So I'm going to do a couple more sample blocks, and as long as I love them, then we'll move on to new blocks. So tiny little kerfluffle in the mix, but I do have these 3 blocks. They're perfectly good blocks. And what I was thinking was I will make a handful more in the, you know, kind of fine Liberty of London feel. I even have some Liberty of London scraps I could pull that I might be able to incorporate in. And I'll just make a runner or something with these extra blocks. That way they don't go to waste. They don't sit languishing and lonely in a box somewhere. And then I'll have done something with this vibe, which I fell in love with, but then I'll also have the full quilts in that kind of other style. So that's where this one sits. I think it'll be really fun, and I am reinvigorated about it. We're moving forward. Okay. 2 more that I actively worked on, and then we'll talk plans and plans and stuff. I have no idea how long this video is yet, not that it super matters, but because I had to interrupt it, it has a new little ticker, time ticker in the bottom, so we'll just carry on. Yes, okay, so this the next one is Baker's Dozen, which has been not a slog, but it's been slow. It's been slow progress. But I feel my enthusiasm growing for it as I kind of get a little further in. I thought I brought it closer to the front. Oh, here we go. Okay, so here is the full shebang-a-lang. It is a very interesting, busy, fabulous quilt. This is by Jen Kingwell. Again, I have a love for Jen Kingwell designs, so you'll definitely see a lot of her projects on my channel. And I'm still in, oh, I guess I can mark those 2 off. I'm still in the first little section of things. So far as checking things off goes. I had a soft goal to finish this before Christmas because this is going to be a gift for my husband. But we'll see. Maybe it will be his birthday next year. It just depends on how much progress I make. Okay, so I was able to get all of the blocks I had cut out pieced, which felt pretty good. So we'll just kind of flop through those real quick. I'm doing them in 1800s reproductions, which is my husband's favorite section of a quilt shop. He always gravitates towards those, and he'll pull me over and say, do you want to see the ones I like? I like this one and this one. And so I knew at some point I would need to make him an 1800s reproduction quilt. So this is the one. And these are so fun. I don't know why. This was sitting on top of the stack last night, and he pointed this one out. He's like, I like the flower. So now I don't feel bad about including a few flowers in his. Boys can like flowers too, right? There's no gender rules on flowers. But I tried to put something interesting, at least, even if I couldn't fully fussy cut, but something interesting in the center of each block here. And yeah, I think they're good. So these are done. I'm working on cutting out, let's see, how can I share this with you? Here, I can just pull this out because it broke out of my book. So these are the blocks. I've done these ones, and these ones now. And now I've cut this section out, and I'm working on cutting these ones out. There are 4 of these and 4 of those. And once I have these 8 blocks pieced, let me see if I can find my picture again. Brain binder. Once I have those blocks pieced, what I realized, I don't know why I hadn't clicked into my thick noggin before, but this is pieced like a round robin quilt. So it's done very similar to the way Long Time Gone was, where there's a center and then there's a ring of blocks and a ring of blocks and a ring of blocks building out. And maybe it's just because this was so busy, I didn't see that initially, but it is, on closer inspection, a center and a ring of blocks and a ring of blocks and a ring of blocks. So once I finish these last 8, I have the first ring done. And I think what I'm going to do is piece to that point the quilt. And I feel like that will be very motivating for me to have this center section done. I'll be like, oh yeah, let's get that next ring going, get that done. And then, you know, I think it'll break it up into really palatable chunks. And suddenly I'm feeling more excited about it. Like, it's not just a bajillion tiny pieces and really not tedious, but time consuming cutting and prepping and piecing and stuff. So the vision is becoming something more exciting for me. And I feel like maybe it's just spring. I don't know. It could be. Maybe I was just depresso espresso all winter, and not that it's necessarily seasonal for me, unfortunately, but excuse me. But I'm feeling renewed vigor for some of these projects I've been a little stuck on. So that's nice. That feels good. Especially for the ones that are going to be gifted at some point. You know, I don't want to just dream of making projects for my husband. I want to make them for him and have him use them. And yeah, so I haven't made him a quilt since we were engaged. It's been a hot minute. It's time. It's past time. He needs another quilt that's all his own. Okay, this last one I'm going to show you is currently in timeout. And it's not because anything went wrong. It's just, well, let's talk about it. So I have not made brain binder pages for it because it's in timeout. So we've got the vintage flower sampler, which I adore. I think it is so, so pretty and sweet. Let me find the full picture for you. La 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 la. That's a runner, that's a bag, that's a pillow. Where's the quilt? There we go. So this is what it is in the sample. And it's just so fresh and delightful, and definitely has that vintage, 1930s almost reproduction vibe. So when I started dreaming about this, I don't think I even have it here. Unprepared. Oh, and it's under a stack. Okay, so we're not going to go grab it. But I have a peachy kind of dusty peachy salmon-y kind of color for the sashing. How's that for a description? And so I was like, oh, okay, let's build a palette off of this because I have enough of it. I won't have to buy anything. And so I went onto the interwebs and I found and created a color palette page. And I think, so I love this top. They called it Vintage Honey. That's the first one I found, and then I kind of built off of that. That and the wallpaper. Oh my gosh, I love that wallpaper. I want that somewhere in my house. But I think what threw me off is this square is not, it's too bright. It doesn't fit. So in fact, we're going to take a pen and go, no, X-nay on add they. So this part is too bright. And when I was pulling fabrics, again, I wound up relying, instead of on kind of my new vision for the palette, I kind of wound up relying on the original sample palette. So I had cut out my block, I pieced my block, and it's so, so cute. It really is. There's no denying the cuteness, right? But is it that? Minus the, okay. Minus the bad block. Not that it's bad, it's just brighter. Minus the bright block. Does it fit the palette? And I think the answer is no. For instance, this green is too strong. And the red is also too strong. And even, frankly, my little aquas in here are too bright. So somehow as adorable as this is, and I love my, I love my little Alice in Wonderland hair, but it's just not, it's not vibing. It's not fitting the vision. So I have done a new color pole. In fact, I covered this picture up when I was doing it. And I got as far as that, and then I was just a little burnt out. I was like, ugh, bleh. So it's on timeout while my brain decides to be excited about it again. Because here's my quandary with it. There are some really cute like fruit blocks. That was really bad grammar, excuse me. There are some really cute fruit blocks. And they are fresh and lovely. And there's a part of me that wonders if maybe I shouldn't stay more in keeping with this. And maybe I'll still have to redo this block. I don't know. Here, we'll just let that sit there. So that is this block here. Maybe it's okay if we turn it the way they have it. Not that it would have to be that way. It doesn't matter. It's the same all directions, and I want my rabbits up. But perhaps keeping with, maybe I changed the palette too much in my brain. Maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe for this project, I want to keep fresher, cleaner fabrics, colors, so that it retains this energy. And maybe I just save this Vintage Honey palette, minus that one, for another project, for something else. And that would be totally fine too. I just need some time to kind of mull over things, I think. That's where this one sits. So I did make the first block, but it's in timeout as I think about things. I'm not sure where I want it to go yet. So, and that winds up being okay because I have a new start coming in May. So let's move into plans, because I've got some very fun plans for the next chunk of life. So the first one is my stitchy friend Laurel. She is I Am a Stitch Nerd on YouTube, and then I don't remember what her Instagram handle is, but she's on both. And she reached out to me through messages on Instagram and said, hey, they're having a sale on Jen King wool patterns. Do you want to pick one with me and we can stitch it, we can quilt it together, kind of our little quilting bee? And I said, heck to the yes. But my pattern's gonna be a little delayed. So I got my pattern. We chose Caution Curves Ahead. And I do have, it is in the brain binder. We are starting this May 1st. And I am so excited. So April's planning and May starts the stitching. So here is the full original layout. It is so cute. And I love how different it is from the other 2 Jen King wool projects, 3 Jen King wool projects I have completed or have going right now. Because I've finished Long Time Gone, and then I have Baker's Dozen and Wensleydale. So I've got 2 going right now. But they're totally different from this. So this feels totally fresh and new, which is really fun. I have created a palette page. Sue Spargo is running a block of the month of it, I think currently, and she posted this on Instagram, and I loved her palette for it, and it made me think of kind of vintage beach vibes. So I went and pulled my palette, and we've got our little inspiration picture here, and then I have plotted out what needs to be done for this project. So we'll move Laurel over there. Okay, so we are going to do, the project is broken up into months. And if you see here, so it goes block 1, 2 through 12. And then there are applique blocks that also go block 1 through 12. And so what we're going to do is 1 pieced and 1 applique block per month. So, and I say block with quotes because while there's 1 style of block, 1 block pattern per month, there are actually 5 of the pieced ones for month 1 and 3 appliques for month 1. And we decided to do both the applique and the pieced in sync with each other because otherwise this would be a 2-year project. We'd get through all the piece blocks and then have, 12 months of applique blocks to do. So I think this will work out really well, especially where, like this first month, there are only 3 of those. That's a really simple block. It's going to go really quickly. And for most of them, it's 3 or 4 blocks. The final one is month 12. What is month 12? Oh, it's circles. Circle. Not bad. Anyways, so we're going to start in May. This is the plan. I have pulled fabric for the first, what do we have? 8 blocks here. I'm going to have to think of a different way to say this because they're marking it as block 1, but there are 5 of them. So it might get a little confusing. Anyways, it'll make more sense once there are physical blocks to share. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this project. It's going to be the perfect summery, fun thing. And it'll be so fun to do in time with Laurel because her palette, she's shared a few pictures and it's totally different from mine. It's going to be stunning. And I don't know. This is the magic of quilting, you guys. Frankly, I'm just creating in general. Everybody has their own twist and puts their own magic into their projects and they come out totally unique and I love it. I love it. Anyway, so I have fabric pulled. I need to do cutout. I have to go out and buy some template plastic because there is not an acrylic template set for this, and I can see why. There's tons of pieces. It would be $100 set. But I can't find my template plastic anywhere to save my life, and so I can't cut out my blocks yet. I need to go get some. Hopefully my local shop will have some. Otherwise I'll have to order some. Anyways, I'll figure it out, get them cut out before the start of the month, and then we'll dive on into it in May. I'm so excited. So excited. Okay, the next one that I am starting, like the next time I sit down at the machine, is the produce section. This is one I've been planning for a couple of years now, kind of collecting for, and I'm ready to rock and roll. So she has a cover sheet. I have not printed off her picture yet, I don't think. No. Where is the picture? Oh, there we go. So I'm doing the large version, which includes 4 of each fruit featured. And I have already cut out the strawberries, bananas, and pears. So the first 3 blocks. So my color palette page is a little different for this project. When I did Fab Farm last year, 2 years ago. Yeah, that top has been done for a year. Oh, nuts. I gotta get that thing quilted. Anyways, they had 4 cows, 4 sheep, 4 chickens, stuff like that, and so on. And I did each one a different way. And I really like how that finished out. So I'm going to do the same thing with my fruit, is each strawberry is going to be just a little bit different, and each banana a little bit different. So I've broken up my palette page into version 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then by fruit. And if they share a common fabric, so like the banana of the bananas is all going to be the same white. There's little seeds in the strawberries. The seeds are all going to be the same. The background is shared throughout the whole quilt. So that's my background. The stems on all of the pears will be the same. So anything shared will be under the title of the fruit. And then I've just kind of put in parentheses down here, all. That way it's easy reference point, especially as you're piecing Elizabeth Hartman blocks. I like to lay them out next to my machine as I'm piecing the block so it stays organized, and this way I can make sure I've got all the right pieces in the right places. So that's how that one's gonna go. My palette pages will take a little bit more space because of that, but no skin off my nose. All right. So that'll be really fun. I have the first 3 cut out and ready to go. They're sitting by my machine, and I'm really excited to start this one. I'm gonna sneeze. Chew. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. Okay, this one is one I might work on. I've been, especially since I finished my my bunny embroidery, I've been kind of jonesing for an embroidery project, and I have several large ones going. So there's no shortage of options. And this A Gardener's Alphabet is kind of speaking my language right now. I have done A through E so far, and I'm almost done with F. So that is Forget-Me-Nots. And this is where it sits. Where's my board? Oh, it fell down. Sorry, my chair is so squeaky. Just part of the adventures of Lala D Stitches. So this is Forget-Me-Not. This is a project that involves you trace your shapes and then you color. I use color crayons for this project. And then you press the wax out of it and then you stitch. So it's kind of the process of this. And I have all but the blooms themselves stitched at this point. I did switch out. They called for floss. I'm going to do it with this one, which is a Cosmo 5022. And I think it fits what I did with the color crayons a little bit better than the called for floss. And I like a little bit of, you know, this one has a little bit of purple and periwinkle and light blue. Like, that just felt a little bit more forget-me-not than their called for color. So, not that that wasn't beautiful. So if I get the itch to stitch some embroidery, I will finish that, and on the assumption that that was enjoyable and went fairly quickly, I would probably, I was kind of torn. Last time I looked at this, I had considered picking up one of the bigger blocks and then coming back to the small blocks, because I would hate to get all of the tiny blocks done and be left with these really stitch heavy blocks, and then we'll have it sitting where it's sitting now, not getting any progress. I've just been cross stitching like a fiend for the last few years, and so I have neglected my embroidery projects, but I'm kind of, again, reinvigorated, a little bit inspired to work on some, especially where Crabapple Hill has retired now. It kind of feels like, I don't know, I should do some stitching on the ones I have, because I'm grateful to have them. And honestly, I'm not even going to tell you when I started this project because it's embarrassing. So some progress would be good. So that could happen. Let's see here. What is this stack of happiness over here? All right, we'll get these in the right order here. Okay, so I should look at my notes. I did that. Oh, I'd like to pull out Brilliant Stars again in the next month or two. That is just as a refresher, because I haven't worked on it since last autumn. That is this project, Brilliant Stars, which I have changed the palette on to a bit more like that. And, oops, wrong one. Yeah, so I think I have 5 or 6 of these blocks done. 5, it looks, no, 6. Yeah, 6 blocks done. There are 25 blocks total. And I'm a little behind on where I thought I would be, but I kind of took a break from them while I was working on my wintry projects because I was enjoying them so much. And this one had a really different palette that I wasn't, you know, wanting to work with at the time. So I'd like to bring that out again. I know I did some prep work. I think blocks are pretty much ready to start being pieced. So get some more work on that. I don't remember. I know I set a goal for how many of the stars I wanted to do, but I don't remember. It was probably around 5 or something. Something achievable, hopefully. And if I get more, great. And if I just get the 5, goal accomplished. Let's see, May, June. So we'll be coming back for a Quilting Bee mid-June. Trying to think what else I would pull out between now and then. I don't know. It'll be a surprise. Oh, I have a couple projects that I'm just kind of, they're in the planning stages. So like produce section, for instance, I knew I wanted to make it. I had the pattern and I started collecting fabrics, and it took a while for it to kind of become a project that was ready to be worked on. So I have a couple that are in that stage right now, that are in the planning stages. The first one is full carts, which I've mentioned before. It is this gorgeous pattern. I love patterns that create secondary shapes, that there's just, it's an interesting thing to look at. So this is my palette. We're going for kind of vintage 70s vibes. I'm just feeling kind of those vintage color palettes these days. I don't know why. I love the incorporation of browns and kind of those warm golds and things into projects right now. But then bringing that avocado green, I don't want my whole house to be it, but I love the idea of a pop of that somewhere. So I'm working on the palette. I've done a couple pulls and then put them away because they weren't quite right. I haven't settled on my background color yet, and that's really what I need. I have enough of something that's about that color. Maybe it's between those two. But I'm not sure that's not too strong for the background. So I'm still, this one, I thought I would have fabric pulled for right now, but I'm not quite there yet. Still working on it. It's still ruminating. The next one that is, this is not a color picture. It's a terrible picture, in fact. But I don't think I had color ink in my printer when I printed it out, so there it is. Pickled orange peel, which is a twist on a pickle dish quilt. And I've always wanted to make one. And they have, at the end of the pattern, this diagram. That'll show you the shapes better. If you look up pickled orange peel, you can see examples of it. It's a great quilt, and people do a lot of really interesting things with it. I'm between two different ideas right now. Either doing kind of an ombre tropical rainbow in batiks, which would be vibrant and really exciting. That would be a really fun one to do. Or emphasizing the pickle and going all greens, totally scrappy greens, and I don't know, something. That's a new thought. But yeah, this is going to be a really fun one. And it will not be a fast project. But it's also foundation pieced. So, you know, it's not like, it'll be really fun. Let's just put it that way. And then the last thing, I don't even have a picture for, so we won't talk about it because it's still in those baby phases. But those could be, especially full carts and pickle dish. If I settle in on a palette, those could be they might have a start in the next month or two. So that would be very fun. And that's kind of what I'm thinking of there. As I mentioned earlier, I'm really leaning into kind of scrap busting quilts. I am very inspired by some of the ones I've seen on Instagram, and I was going to show you a picture, but I left my tablet and Pinterest. I spend way too much time on Pinterest. I always have a lot of starts after I spend time on Pinterest, but one of them is kind of an adaptation, a loose adaptation of a Jacob's Ladder, and they did a lot of play on lights versus dark scraps, and this is the basic idea. It did say in the blog it was based off of 1.5-inch squares, and so that made it so I could kind of, you know, reverse engineer it. The main block is an 18-inch block. So, I mean, this is tiny pieces. But it's such a cool effect. I wish I could show you the picture. I really don't think... Where's my phone? One moment. Here we go. Let's see if I can find it easily in my pins here. Oh yes, here it is. See, it's recently in my brain. Okay. So here is, we'll see how much or how little glare we can get. But that's the basic idea. Super scrappy, and you get that ladder effect through it. But ultimately, no. Ultimately, it's just lots of little squares and some half triangles, as you can see in my really rough sketch. 9 patches and half squares. So super simple concept, but a really gorgeous finish and really friendly to super scrappy, and even those small scraps that you're like, I can't bring myself to throw it away, but what will I ever do with this? Anyway, so that could be a really good scrap buster. That's kind of jingling around in my brain. And then there was another one. I wrote it down. So that's the Jacob's Ladder. Oh, a scrappy trip around the world. I have wanted to make one of these for a long time. And again, it's just squares. So it's really use of color that makes it interesting. Oh my goodness, I'm not gonna be able to find a picture. I'll show you this one though. I have it somewhere in my my sweet girl's over there, and she's softly snoring. Little cutie pie. Oh, I could have sworn I saved a picture. All right, well, failure. Anyways, scrappy trip around the world. Another one you could easily search in Pinterest or something and see. But I'm debating between a true trip around the world, but making it from scraps, which is rings, concentric rings of color. And as long as you stayed, I feel like if you stayed within one color, you could still go scrappy. It might change, I don't know, it might change it too much, the vibe. But I've always wanted to make one of those. Or there's the one that's called Scrappy Trip is like squares and you have lines of different colors. And then they kind of twist the squares to create, you know, different shapes and layouts and stuff like that. Super simple as far as assembly goes, but again, potentially a really good scrap buster. So those are floating in my brain. Yeah. So that's my plans. I just have a couple things I thought I'd share from my crabapple haul from February. 'Cause they're cute. So this one is mail service or embroidery mail spring. But it's so cute, and I think that would make a really fun pillow because it's pretty good sized, 9 by 10, but like still a good size for a pillow. Anyways, that could be really cute. I thought it was really sweet. I also grabbed, where's the cover sheet? I guess I only printed that picture. The Valentine's Day truck. My super quality paper. It's great. This one I thought was so cute. Garden home. And this would be really cute on the front of a project bag or a tote or something like that. It's not big. It's just the size of a sheet of paper. And then I thought these were really cute little seed packet towels. And there's a lot of different applications you could do with these, but they would also make lovely gifts. And then the last thing outside of the Halloween alphabet, I mean, I almost felt bad buying these because it was highway robbery. I mean, I think like this was like a $2 pattern on the sale. They were so inexpensive. It made it really accessible. Anyways, this last one, you're not going to be able to see all of the pictures, but you kind of get the idea through these bigger ones. Apple cider days, and they're just these lovely autumn forest themed stitches and this cute quilt setting. I think this would be a really fun one to make. I don't know if I could ever quilt it as prettily as they do it, but you know, maybe I could get brave. I just think it's really, really cute, and that would be a fun project. So maybe I'll start that in September or something. I'm sure I have some, you know, creamy background fabric that those could be stitched on. Okay, and the last little bit, it barely counts as haul because it's free, but Tilda released a handful, really, of new projects. She is so generous. If you go on to tildasworld.com, she has pages of free quilts. I mean, it's so generous. They're so lovely too. And I just thought this was right up my alley. And I have a piece of fabric for the background, because I think it only takes, it's less than 3 yards, and this is like 3 or 4 yards right here. So I could do it. I don't know when I will do it, or if it will just sit in my dream box for a while, but I think it's so pretty. Kind of citrus shapes. Makes me think of orange slices. It's called Spiked Lemonade. She also did a version which has a golden background. So pretty. That was the one I saw first, but then I realized I had this fabric and I was like, all right. Sold. Not that I bought it. It was free. Anyways. So kind, so generous. So yeah, that's what I've got. Those are my plans. I'm going to work on produce section. We're going to give Caution Curves Ahead a good start. Finish the Wensleydale top. Make some more progress on our other whips. And hopefully I'll have lots of oodles of goodies to show you in June. We'll see. As the weather gets better, I spend more time outside and less time in my studio. So everything is subject to change. But that's okay. That's why they're plans, not definites. Yeah, I hope you had a lovely Easter weekend, and that you're getting some quilting done, and just want to thank you for spending some time with me. I'm feeling good about it. I don't know that I have any words of wisdom or any more words at this point. My brain is tired. That's okay. Yeah. Take care of yourselves. I hope your creative juices are flowing, and if they're not, that they're resting so that they can wake up sometime soon. Yeah. Take care of yourselves. I think I said that. This outro is a little painful. I'm going to stop talking. All right. Thank you, my stitchy friends. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will see you for another Quilting Bee in June. All right. Toodaloo.